Good day, y'all. So I recently posted some videos on YouTube and even TikTok showing us building our tiny house. Some say it's not tiny. The actual size of the house is 18 feet by 25 feet. That's the inside, 18 by 25 feet. And people have been asking like for advice, how much material is used and those type of things. So I'm going to use this opportunity to help those who are interested, and then I have one or two people on the channel who are going to start a build, and I want to give you all the heads up for you all to know what you have to buy. Okay, so I hope you enjoy today's video. It will be a chit chat and I'll be showing you pictures and images of some of this stuff. I will not be calling the prices because the prices will fluctuate. So what I'll tell you is the average price of it and how much we used and why we use it as well. In order to start building our foundation, the first thing we needed to get was a truckload of gravel. Gravel, a truckload normally sells anywhere between 18 to as much as $2,500. This truckload of gravel was needed for the trench. That's where you dig and place the steel into the ground. So the two types of steel that were purchased was 1/2 inch and 3/8. This piece here that you're seeing, this here is the 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch is what you'll be using to make cage to go around. The 3/8 now, I would have purchased 5 lengths of 3/8 steel, and before that I would have also purchased 5 for bending to make stirrups, straps. It goes by many names. You would have seen the vlog where I showed you that I bend it for myself. This is what it looks like. This normally retails for around $7 to $10 for one, depending on the size. Whether it's 6 feet by 7, 6 feet by 8, it's all about the size you choose to use. Some people use the 3/8, some people use the 10-1 like pen. That's this size. It's easier to bend and it costs less money. This one could cost you around $15 to $20 for a single one. So that is your option when you're starting to build. What material are you going to use? You must buy the 1/2 inch. What you use for the stirrups is optional when you are building. Next piece of material you have to buy, but that's in the later half, because a foundation can take you between, let's say, 3 to 10 days depending on the size that you're building. Because the first thing you want to do is line it off, dig to put down your steel. When you put down your steel now, before you put down the steel, there's actually cages you have to build. So you would have seen clippings and thing with me tying wire as well, where you have to tie those stirrups onto 4 lengths of steel to build the cage, and then that goes around the foundation. When that goes down there, I actually hired 5 men to dig. So uncle was the mason and 4 other men to dig around for the foundation. I was the one who bent all the stirrups and were tying with uncle. Uncle was squaring everything, and those 4 men, we actually dig 26 feet by 19 feet, because you have to make it bigger, because when you put down the foundation and you add the walls, the inside will get smaller. So because we wanted the 18 feet, we had to do that. So when we put up the wall, we'll have what we wanted inside. So we dig the first day, we dig, we put in the cages after we done tie them, and then we laid our first foundation brick around. So while there's gravel and cement mix, and we also purchased 20 bags of cement. There are different brands of cement in Trinidad. So for that day, we required the steel, we required the cement, we required the gravel. You have to mix gravel and put around, and then the blocks, the foundation blocks that goes around the perimeter, because you also require foundation blocks as well. That also requires to be filled with cement. So that was our first day on the land to work on building the foundation. So you all heard how much thing that cost us a little over $5,000 for all those materials that I called out there, right? So remember, you have to Google. By the time you all get this video, which I'm recording this presently, and the time I did it back then, the price would have changed because while I was billing, the price of material was dropping. Here is a roll or the leftover of my roll of BRC. This, when I started to build, cost 1300. While was almost ready for it, the price dropped to $900. Now you could find this for around $800 for a roll of BRC. One of the things people don't pay attention to when building, I am not a mason, I am not a builder, but I paid attention when I was building my house so I will be able to share this information with you. You cannot join steel normal, like weld it to tack it together. You have to tie steel, and if you're tying steel, there is a overlap, so you can't just rest this piece here and the next piece on the side, so it actually have to have a couple of feet going across for you to tie them to join them. So let's say you want 20, you want to build a house that is 25 feet, but a length of steel only comes in 19 and a half feet. You're not going to add 19 and a half feet plus 5.5 feet. That steel that you have to put there have to be like around 10 feet, or let's say 9 feet, because it needs to overlap and tie in place so you can get that feet, because it needs to be proper, it needs to be strong. So when we went with the sides being 18 feet and 19 feet is, so it would have used one length of steel in each column going across. So we'd have limit having to buy extra steel, because some people ask, why didn't go bigger, why didn't do 20? And I'm not talking about just YouTube alone, like family and friends was like, why didn't go this? And we had to remember that the material came at certain length. Some come at 30 feet, some come at 19 and a half feet, and we had to stretch every dollar because it wasn't easy. We started off by buying foundation bricks first. The foundation now in front, because the land is at a slope, one side of the house is raised by 3 foundation bricks. The back now is raised by 1 foundation brick in the back in order for it to be level. So it come like it will look like this, but it's actually level. And the reason why we didn't put the back higher is, one, we don't have to worry about flooding and thing where we are located. And two, by making the foundation higher off the ground required more backfill. Backfill is the material that you put inside your foundation to fill it. So after that day, what I told you about doing that, we came back and we added a second and a third layer to part of the foundation until it got to the level that we wanted. I used 6 small truck to get the material in because the land was a little bit soft. I couldn't have bring 1 truckload, so I did 6 half load on a truck. I emptied 5 of that into the foundation by myself. When I tell people that it was uncle and I, the mason and I, most days it was. I hired somebody to help me with the last half truckload to put it in the foundation. Majority of the days I worked was just uncle and I. I hired people to help do the trenches, to cast the foundation, and to put up the roof. Outside of that, it was just uncle and I working. We would have took about 3 days to put the backfill in, ram it down, get it level, get boxing board to block around. So there's much more material than you normally, or you would like to think about when building. Somebody might tell you, yeah, small thing, but it have many things that goes into building. And that is why I will try to drop these vlogs separately, but along the same time when I drop the actual video showing the work. Because you have to know, hey, this is what you're seeing, but you have to buy construction ply. You have to cut it a certain thickness. So when you put the cement to hold your foundation now, it won't fall over, everything will be level. Because your foundation is a good thickness, eh? Your foundation don't be thin like that. And not only that, we also did a floating beam on my foundation as well. When you all see the videos, you will see, hey, uncle has been building houses for over 50 years in Trinidad and Tobago. He is awesome. It was a pleasure for me to work with him, and that is why I'm trying to pass on and share the information that I learned while I was working with uncle. So we ram it down. Uncle did that. We would have buy polythene, I believe. It's a black garbage bag finish type of material you're putting on it. And then you will put your steel, your bending steel, because you also have to put steel in your foundation brick that goes coming out, let's say about 3-4 feet out to bend onto the foundation, and that is also going to tie on to the BRC to hold it in place. Uncle lifted up a whole roll of BRC by himself. Anybody know how heavy BRC really is? Uncle is in his 60s and he did that on his own, and that's just amazing. I was struggling to lift it with Uncle earlier. Uncle was like, Jacob, you're kidding me. But yeah, the BRC, the steel, everything had to fold, it had to interlock by tying. It was a task. I also paid to get one of the water tanks full as well to make sure that when we are casting the foundation, we would have enough water to do it. I also had to buy my second truckload of gravel when it was time to cast the foundation. So the first truckload of gravel was just to do the trenches, right? And to load the blocks. The second truckload of gravel was needed for when we were casting the foundation. So that is 2 truckload of gravel now, right? All the following, right? I originally bought around 30 bags of cement, thinking that I would have needed probably about 25. I used 27.5 bags of cement. It took around 72 wheelbarrows to fill the foundation, y'all. Around 72 wheelbarrows. The ratio cement to gravel is 1 bag to 3 wheelbarrows. We mixed it on the ground with shovel, with a hoe. It was 5 guys I hired plus Uncle in order to do the foundation. When I finished cast the foundation a half an hour later, rain started to drizzle and then rainy season start. Most people don't know, but your concrete, your foundation need to be wet ever so often to help the curing process. So we got that done due to the weather. So my foundation really took, let's say, about 5 days, 5 working days to be completed. It could have been 4, but in total, because you have to bend the steel, and that is why I did the work before, because I wanted to make sure that on the day, because it's a small house we were building, that on the first day we were able to dig, put down the steel, mix gravel, throw it in, and run the first layer blocks around. Shout out to Danny. Danny stayed back and helped with Uncle. Shout out to Uncle Anthony, because Uncle Anthony is the one who made this possible, y'all. And you all will see the videos coming, and you all will understand the process, and this will give you an idea of the things you have to take note of that you have to purchase, right? The foundation is basically the most expensive things you have to pay for in your house after your foundation is your roof. We use reclaimed material for our roof. What we had to buy was the C channel and the hat channel. We went directly by George to purchase those things, and then I needed a little more. Later on I will make videos addressing the walls and the other part of the house, but this video is just really to address the foundation. Foundation bricks, how it really is 3 blocks is equivalent to 4 feet. So you can get an average by counting how much foundation bricks to know what you need for your size of house. I even mentioned in the vlog that I did before that when you buy wall bricks, you get foundation blocks at the bottom of it. We, honestly speaking, I don't think we use more than 200 foundation bricks for our home. We kept it below. You could also integrate foundation blocks into other aspects of your house if you have blocks like that. You could build a retaining wall. You could actually do a wall in the back of your house with foundation bricks depending on what you have left over. So a simple recap: 20 bags of cement and truckload of gravel to do the trenches, about 27.5 bags of cement and a truckload of gravel. I remember there was this one guy who was like, that is not enough, you have to buy more, ting. Y'all, in the field of construction, you have to do things according to the code, because that person who's not doing it properly could make your thing just go bad, waste your material. And if he was the person in charge that day, all I telling all you, I wouldn't have anything left over. And I did have things left over. And that's one of the things I learned from uncle. This is the code, this is what we do it. Full up and empty, full up and empty. Because y'all, somebody go tell you, hey, this is the average. You need to sit down and check. Okay, my house has 4 walls going around. It's 20 by 20 feet. So each line, I need 4 lengths of steel. But it also need a piece to join. So I have four corners. That is 16 lengths of steel. Then there's a beam that I'm going to put in the middle to do as well. So that's a other 4 that I need. So that's 20. But I also need to add on to each length of that. And this is how much I'm calculating to add on. So I will need to buy 4 extra or 8 extra. And that's how we do your maths. And then you're like, okay, I also need steel protruding every 2 to 3 feet. So I'm going to buy an extra 10 lengths of steel. So that's how I was able to come up with my figure as $35. It's something that you have to take pen and paper. You know, somebody building, watch my videos that I did, slow it down, pause it. You can space your syrup up to a feet apart depending on the size, thickness you make. So in my length that is going across, let's see 18 feet. I have 12 syrups going across. So 12 and 12 is 24. So I know 24 working on these two here. How much I put in on the long end. That is how I did my maths. I paid attention. I assisted when somebody else was building a house. I did the maths. I used the same tools to buy my own steel and bend it one time when the tools were there. So I really hope that this video was informative and it helped you out. And leave your comments below, leave your questions below, and I will see you in another one. Thank you for watching.